What time do you have the plan?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. Yesterday was an intense and inspiring day. We explored key topics about accessible tourism in our plenary and parallel sessions. We also enjoyed many meaningful exchanges among participants from all over the world. Today, we continue this journey together. We begin here in room 500 for our plenary session. Afterwards, we will have the last round of parallel sessions. In the late afternoon, we will meet here again for the closing ceremony. Don't forget that you can find all the details about the program, about the sessions, and about the speakers in our dedicated web app. Before we begin, just a little reminder of the safety procedures of room 500. In case of evacuation, an alarm system will alert everyone of the need to leave the room using the emergency exits, which are clearly marked. We kindly invite you to identify the nearest exit to you and the way to it. To support the evacuation of people who may have difficulty using the stairs, 2 refuge areas have been prepared and indicated with appropriate signage. This is where it is possible to temporarily stop in safe conditions. Specially trained staff will assist you in these procedures. As you can see, hopefully on the plan projected behind me, well, when the plan will arrive, one refuge area is located at the entrance level of the room, while the other one is on the lower level right next to this stage. The latter refuge area can be reached by 2 dedicated ways. The way for those sitting in the right-hand side of the room passes across the stage, while the other one leads directly to the refuge area. All these procedures will be assisted by trained staff. The emergency team can be easily recognized by their uniform, and they are at your disposal if you have any further information about these measures. Once again, if you need any help or any support of any kind, we are here for you. Do not hesitate to come to us, and we will be very happy to help you. Thank you once again for being here and for contributing to this global dialogue on accessible tourism. Now, let's begin our morning plenary session, and I give the floor to the moderator, Dimitrios Buhalis. Thank you very much.
Buongiorno a tutti. Good morning. Welcome to is that the third day? It is the third day. Time is flying. Now, for those of you who are sitting at the back, there's an opportunity to upgrade on the front to business class. They offer free beer, free meals, whatever. So come and join us close at the back so we can have a conversation. Okay, free beer on the front only. After a point, we're done. We've got a fantastic panel to talk about a whole range of things. For those of you who were not in my presentation yesterday, and you know who you are, we talk about smart tourism, and we talk about how technology and tourism is changing the world, and particularly how it is changing accessible tourism, tourism for people with different kind of needs, and how it makes it much more inclusive and can enable personalization, individualization, contextualization. You'll see the books, and the books that we have written with Simon Darcy and with Ivo Ambros, they say the story, and also a lot of the research that I've been doing on accessibility and technology. Feel free to take pictures, feel free to tag us, and feel free to have the conversation. We've changed a little bit the order of the panel because of the flow is going to be much better like that. And my first speaker is Mirko, who is an old good friend from many, many years. And he is the more generalist in the panel. Mirko is doing fantastic things on AI and big data, and he's going to explain to you in a minute. Mirko.
Hi. Prova? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Dimitrios. Thank you, Giovanni, for having me. And just a brief presentation before to start. I'm the CEO and founder of a company that is called the Data Company. We are a company that analyzes data, and we collect data through all the digital ecosystem of tourists. And we analyze them. We use AI since the beginning. And at the end of the story, we provide tools and insights for destinations, operators, and whoever needs data about the tourism industry. We acquired a Spanish company 2 years ago, and now we are the first company in Europe that use AI for make sense of data and helps touristic destination to understand and take better decision. Which data and which data, it's, I mean, a relevant question. We analyze all the data that may influence the decision of the travelers. You see, it is a very fresh report from Arrival, and the top factor for choosing a destination, for deciding where to go on vacation or where deciding a hotel or whatever, it's a part of your experience during your travel is what they call appeal of a destination. I promise I didn't pay for them. And it's appeal of the destination is a mix. It's exactly what we measure. Is a mix of perception, is a mix of communication, is how is the perception through all the digital ecosystem of a territory and offer of a destination itself. But I mean, let's speak about AI. And let's try to understand why AI is so popular right now and what is the impact of AI through all the travel ecosystem. I mean, AI, it's popular for two simple reasons. Simplify and democratize. I normally use those two words for describing what happened right now, because since that exact moment, the 30th of November 2022, when Sam Altman announced to the world ChatGPT, something rapidly changed. And I mean, it's an anthropological revolution, not only a technological revolution, because it's changing our life. And I mean, we have access to a power, to a technology that was science fiction since 3 years ago. And the most powerful thing is that there is invisible, because AI, it's everywhere and will be everywhere in every step of our life, even, I mean, and especially when we travel, especially during our experience. So the question is, AI will help the tourism sector to be more accessible. Of course, it's a rhetorical question. I think that will definitely help not only the tourism sector to be more accessible, but what is happening right now? Why is the tourism sector the first and the most impacted by AI at the moment? I mean, I'm a data guy, so let me start with some data. I promise to be very, very short and quick and not to be boring. This is a research made by a private company that highlight the percentage of travelers open to use AI during the planning, booking, and experiencing. Planning, booking, and experiencing. So as you can see, I mean, there are various markets behind, from Far East to the Western world, and everybody is pretty open. So there is a widely acceptance in usage of AI for organizing a travel. Can I make a little experiment? How many of you have used AI to ask for help to their last trip? Raise your hand. How many of you have experienced this AI for job? Last question, I promise. How many of you pay for some, I mean, tool AI? Okay, not bad. Not bad. I have sorry for the picture, because it's made last week in Rome during the WTTC. So it just made with my phone, and it's a I hope it's possible to be read from the public. Shortly, long story short, this is a very fresh research that highlights the usage of AI, not only if people are open to use AI, but the current usage of AI. And the projections are astonishing because, I mean, agentic AI replaced traditional travel agent, 25% up to 2026. As you can see, it's already happening. It's already there. And why is that? Why it's so widely accepted? Because organizing a travel, even for people that don't have any special necessity, and everybody has special necessity, it's tricky, it's difficult, it takes a long time. This is another research from Focusrite that says that 2/3 of the travelers, 67% of the people are experiencing some frustrations during their planning experiences. You know why? Because planning a trip is hard, it's difficult, it's not easy. That's the reason why at the moment that there are hundreds of new startups and companies that are trying to solve these specific problems, because 67% of 1.4 billions of people, billions of travelers, is a very interesting market to be addressed for. And there are a lot of startups. I'm very sad to say that probably all of them will die in a couple of years, and I explain later why they'll die. But now they are all trying to solve that specific problem. How can I plan the perfect trip? And it's easy. Let me show you a little experiment. Yesterday, when I'm finishing my slide in a train to Turin, I opened one of the startups. It's Mindtrip. If you want to try by yourself, it's free. And I entered this specific prompt. Follow me. I'm in Turin for a conference, and I would like to stay in the area for the weekend. Suggest me complete a 3-day itinerary, changing hotels each day, just to make a little tricky, starting from Turin and exploring the city and the surroundings. For each day, include hotel, restaurants, attraction, and places for aperitivo, of course. Give priority to authentic experience and local tradition. It's, the main trend. Everybody is asking for authentic experiences and local tradition. I don't want to drive for more than 2 hours per day. Just think how much needs for a human to make this, to fulfill this request. And if you click enter on, this is Mindtrip. I use Mindtrip only because they have the most fancy visualization. It's not even the more powerful. And as you can see, in bunch of seconds, you have the full trip, and you can dialogue with it. It's a conversational interface. For example, I forgot to mention that I have special needs. I use a wheelchair. Can you please adjust the itinerary to ensure that all hotels, restaurants, and attractions are fully accessible? Remember that, of course. Just a couple of seconds, and it adjusts the itinerary to find all, and it changes a lot. It changes a lot to find hotels, restaurant, attraction that are fully accessible. And I think everybody understand. There's no story, that's no alternatives. That's the way. It's too easy, too simple, and it's integrated, will be integrated in any app planning that will be very easy for everybody to use that, because there is nothing to learn. You have just to type what you want, and we'll give you something. Except the weak point. It's possible to find what you want. For example, if you want all the venue fully accessible, if somebody put online the correct data. because the weak point is not the AI. The AI is working, the AI is there. The weak point here are the data behind, because if the destination doesn't upgrade the data, the website is not, daily updated. Each of you, I usually speak to hotels, restaurants. Each of the operators of the destination needs to update its digital ecosystem, the venue on Google Maps, and all the digital touch points, because otherwise the AI will work, but will work on wrong data. And those tools are really powerful. For example, you can select a reel. I used that last week in Romagna. She's Julia. She make reel about she use a wheelchair, and she normally talk about her trip. And you can just copy the link, pass on the tool, in that case, Mindtrip, and ask for making a trip based on the reel. So you have not even, lose time to look for the reel. You select your favorite influencer to follow, and the trip, the AI will organize the trip for you. Again, you understand that the last 15 years of marketing and web marketing in tourism are dead. Because how can I be the hotel here? There is no SERP, there is no SEM, there is no SEO, there is no, advertising, there is anything, nothing of that. It's a completely new world to be explored, completely new. And it's exciting to understand what will happen and to see what will happen in the future. Let me go very fast. Of course, the weak point are the data, because behind each single choice, each single suggestion, there are data behind that feeds the AI, that are used, already used by AI to be trained, and are the focus point have to be the focus point for all the destination. You can ask for more. You can ask, for example, to change a restaurant because you need a vegan restaurant or whatever, and book everything. Book everything. And even that is already here, because everybody is moving in that direction. Microsoft released the new Copilot that everybody will have access to Copilot because it's integrated in Office, in Windows, in whatever. And the example that they made, it's related to travel. Can you search for me an hotel with that characteristic and book that hotel for me? OpenAI released Operator last year, and a few weeks ago, they made available the agentic task under the $20 profile. So for everybody who's paying for ChatGPT, you already have access to that. So you can ask, go to booking.com, search for an hotel with that and that characteristic, and book that for me. It fill up the form and finalize the booking, and you have to do anything for that. This is Manus, is a Chinese application, very powerful, $20 a month. And the prompt is to organize a trip in Japan, 7 days. You go through all the website, search the train, the hotel, the attraction, museum, tickets, and buy everything, books everything, and give you, at the end of the elaboration, 26 seconds, give you a file with all the voucher, with the entire trip organized. Of course, you can ask if you want accessible trips. It's very easy for him. It doesn't change anything. Don't be scared. There are parts, of course, of the journey that it's very hard to be digitized and to be digitalized. For example, in Italy, more than 65% of the restaurant doesn't have the fork or doesn't have open table. So it's very difficult for an agentic AI to book something. There is no online form to be filled. But there is already another AI it's a real story I made in San Francisco last year. For example, this startup is called Blend AI, and you can integrate inside a chatbot, and when the agent doesn't find a form to be filled, the Blend AI call by phone using a real voice, asking for a reservation, talking exactly like a human, indistinguishable by human, and you have the answer directly in the chat. Yeah. So the technology is already here. I'm finishing. So going very quick to the end. I already talked the importance of the data, and I want to say before to leave why all the startups will be dead in a couple of years. Because Google they have announced twice. Let's see what happens in the future, because Google want to enter in that space and want to solve the problem of the planning and booking of the trip. And why Google, if Google decide to enter that space, probably all the other will be dead, because Google has access to data. That's the preference settings of my Gemini. And as you can see, Google has access to all the research about flights, all the research about hotel, my research or my movement on Google Maps, all the documents and the email. So for example, Google knows if I have a fidelity card or from a certain airline, and even the video that I saw on YouTube. So of course, that's the first motivation, because most startups will be dead. Google is already moving in that direction. They will introduce the new Google Flights. There is Vibe travel planning, so you can enter what you want, not where you want to go. So I want a city during the weekend where there is great food, and it gives you suggestion. Let me jump to the end. I will give you 10 if you want the full presentation. You can just drop me a message and I send you the whole presentation. I want to go directly to the end, because we will be soon we will get used to AI in many aspects of our life. And today, we don't like, for example, AI that, as you can see here, have something mess up with our food, but we will get used to that. We'll get used to have AI in our home. We'll get used to have AI in organizing our trip. But of course, a perfect trip is not just matter of a perfect logistics. We travel not for the logistics, we travel for the memory, for the experiences, and for the emotion. So before to leave, I would like to wrap up with 3 points of view. First point of view from the traveler's point of view. How AI may help a traveler to find and discover a more accessible destination. Accessibility become intelligence, because with AI, it's possible today have a very cheap and accessible and widespread real-time translation and multimodal travel assistance. Voice and vision. There are already appliances. You see the Meta glasses. When I turn the slide very quickly, they cost $300 and allow you to translate in real time and ask for direction. If somebody have a tights problem, it's a life-saving device that was impossible since 2 years ago. Adaptive interface are the norm and are the standards today, because everything will converge through the conversational AI. And of course, you may have access to more, predictive knowledge before to leave for your trip. From the point of view of from the operator, hospitality, restaurant, and so on, artificial intelligence, that's a little paradox, but if I have more time, I can explain that, can teach us, can free energy to be more human, because you can automatize a large part of your work and you'll be more focused. You have more time for the human interaction. There is the core of the travel. There is the core of the tourism sector. And the point of view of the destination, that's our job. today it's really possible to have a predictive analytics, to use AI to understand the flow, to have an open data set for destination that may be used for everybody to make better decision. Of course, you may know in advance what people think, what people feel, and you can use those data to design better experience for everybody. I think that a destination is accessible, and I think Roberto will talk about that in a while, when data are accessible for everybody. Make a photo now. So if you want the full presentation, just drop me a message here, and you can find some of the talk that I said here very quickly on the second link, and for the Italian one, every Thursday there is a podcast on LinkedIn, the third link. Thank you.
Grazie mille, Mirko. Fantastic. You gave us so much on the future. I'm trying to take 2 questions from the audience. Is anybody has got a question, quick question? If not, there's a lady. Do you have a microphone, or should I go up and down? I can go up and down. In the meanwhile, it reminds me of 98. And in 98, the internet was coming, and we're talking about all of those things. And how the internet's going to change things. But in reality, there's the data issue, and the second thing is primarily how the operators are actually delivering that. I created enough space to come over.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was a great presentation. I wonder if you could speak to bias and AI and bias in AI, because what you've explained is great, but what I'm finding on my research, I'm an accessibility manager for a large tour operator, is that AI is still extremely biased, and I don't know how we will ever overcome that. Against the norm, against what is the mainstream, against what is like non-difference, and in this context, bias against accessibility and disability and the prejudices that come with it. Thank you.
Mirko.
That I showed before are working in 2 ways: reinforced learning and providing guidelines. If you use Gemini or if you use ChatGPT, I mean, out of the box, you find a lot of biases, and that's the problem of using generic tools. And I don't think it's avoidable, because there is a lot of bias in the language, there is a lot of bias in the data used for training the AI. But what we can do is to provide specific tools for travel, or specific tool for accessible travel. I mean, it's not so expensive. It's doable, really doable for not for everybody. I mean, you need technical skills, but with a reinforced learning technique, so providing more data to smooth the biases, and putting some sort of boundaries. So talk about that, don't talk about that, giving some additional rules. That's the reason why there are so much startups in that.
Thank you. My name is Abdullah Abdulaziz. I'm from Visit Accessible Bahrain. We're developing the destination as an accessible tourism destination. And I've got a department called a tour operator. I needed to understand what software do you have that helps us to use it in our endeavor.
We can talk at the coffee break for the software. I think it's not be boring for everybody. So we have a software that analyzes hundreds of data sources and give you back a simple dashboard to take decision. But I'll explain you later one-to-one.
Grazie mille, Mirko. Grazie. Okay, our next speaker is another good friend from all times, Olaf, from the German Tourist Board, and he's going to talk to you about virtual reality and immersive environments and accessibility.
That's true, yeah. Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Olaf Schlieper. I'm 59 years old. I'm 1.93 meters tall, wearing black trousers, dark blue jacket, white shirt and no tie. I'm an innovation manager at the German National Tourist Board, and I'm responsible for accessible tourism, for sustainable tourism, and digital innovation, especially virtual and mixed reality. That's what I'm going to talk about now. So we, as the German National Tourist Board, promote Germany worldwide as a travel destination. We have 19 offices throughout the world in the most relevant source market for Germany, and working on behalf of the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Energy, but we also work together very closely with the big brands, with the hotel chains, the airlines, and all the players along the tourism supply chain. Among our tasks, it's not only to promote Germany, it's also to be innovative and be leading according to digital innovation. And as we are active in this field for many years, we have now a new product. It has been launched at ITB, the biggest travel fair in the world, in Berlin in March. It's a mixed reality app about UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Germany. We have 55 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. And if I talk about an app, I'm not talking about a mobile phone app. I'm talking about an app for a virtual reality glasses, to make that clear. And it's also preparation for the new generation of smart glasses. They're getting smaller, lighter, cheaper, but very powerful and very relevant for tourism. So our virtual presentation of UNESCO World Heritage is made in mixed reality. That makes it possible for the user to still see the real surrounding, but we add digital content, three-dimensional digital content in the room, and it's interactive. You can walk through 360 panoramic pictures. You have very attractive features. You can do quests and change things, surroundings, select more panoramic pictures, and it's made as accessible as possible. For us, as a German National Tourist Board, accessibility is key. We have very much looking on our distribution channels to make them accessible for as much people as possible, because we don't want to leave anybody behind, because we see a business potential, and there's also a legal background because the laws in Germany force us to be accessible. But this should not be motivation number one. And before I forget it, you can explore the app at our stand number 10 here at the exhibition. So even the wheelchair users can come and just check this device. It's the best to explore, to experience it by yourself, next to many words about it you will hear now. So we want to inspire everybody to come to Germany. So the app is made for everybody, but it's made also for many people with accessibility needs. And we use it at events of our 19 offices worldwide, and also the World Heritage Sites in Germany bought the glasses and used the app for their tourist information centers or at events as well. Many third parties like universities or organizations ask for using it, and it's very easy because it's for free. It's also a question of accessible. Everybody can download this app for free at meta.com, the app store from Meta. Just type in UNESCO and you will find it. And if you have access to these glasses, just download the app and use it. And what's new, we are on the way to check a new distribution channel, which is in the air. We made a new version just for airlines, so you can use the app also on board on long-haul flights. It's a brand new channel for us, and there have been tests last year, and the result is that people who travel for hours in trains love to use these devices and watch films, play games, or prepare themselves for the destination they are flying to. So as I said, the app is remarkably accessible. It's suitable for wheelchair users because it adapts the height of the user. So if you're small children you're old people sitting or a wheelchair user sitting, if you're a tall guy like me, the app will adapt to your body size and you will have the perfect experience. You can adjust the text size if you have problems to read, or if you can't read properly, you can switch to audio and you get an audio description. So it's made for a lot of people. Also, we focused on visual impairments. We couldn't find a solution for blind people, but in the field of visual impairments, there are so many cases. So if you have color blindness, you can choose between 3 different modes. We also adapted for people who can't move, who maybe not physically not be able to move around or have a small room, then you can change to virtual reality and just move around with the joysticks of the controllers. So that's also an idea of accessibility to adapt to the personal situation of the customer. And what we learned, there are many people who are not the obvious target group if it comes to accessibility, but there are many people with neurodivergent problems, or there are neurodivergent individuals, let's say it more positive. And so we avoided flashes and irritating or emotionally stressful situations so they can easily use it without being irritated. So what it's all about, you have in your room where we are, you can still see it's 3 objects. It's one round table with a Germany map where you can see where the UNESCO World Heritage is located in Germany. You can grab the ring, the black ring, and choose between different UNESCO World Heritage sites. Alternatively, you also can use alphabetical search. Then there is a door. You have to open the door, step in, and then you are in the middle of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's quite impressive. For some people, it's a challenge to go through the door, but then they're amazed. And the 3rd column gives you access to our online channels. So you can use our website or go to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram without leaving the app. That's also kind of innovation. And we are going to add, if you're talking about AI, an AI travel companion by the end of the year, hopefully, who gives you information about Germany in general, not about UNESCO heritage only, but you can ask any question about the destination. And if you then entered the door, you're standing in the middle of the nature or in a cathedral, in a castle, whatever. You have a balustrade. It gives you a bit of a safe place because during testing we found out that people are a bit afraid. And if you have this balustrade, it gives you some secure area and people love it. And we programmed for each of the panoramic pictures realistic sounds. So if you are in the nature, you hear birds and wind. If you are in the city, you may hear some traffic. This makes this on-site experience, even if it's virtual, even more realistic. If you are inside the panorama, you can activate a quiz, for example, answer questions. You have access to more panoramic pictures for this specific spot where you are. And so you have quite some interactive features like this clipboard, which gives you information, written information about this site, or if you click the right button there on the right, then you can activate audio and you get an audio description of the site. And you have a summary what you did within this specific panoramic picture. If you answered all the questions, if you clicked on the special photo, if you saw all panoramic pictures of this site, then you get a pledge, whatever, some reward. And you will see it also on the ring afterwards. So you can collect your knowledge, your results, and until you saw all the 55 UNESCO World Heritage Sites if you want. What is very special, you can invite friends who have access to these glasses worldwide. So if you are here, you can invite people in New York, in Japan, wherever, to join the experience and walk around with 4 or 5 friends. That's very specific because the original voice is transmitted and the movement of the head and the hands also, it's a live, kind of a live experience. They look like avatars, but the rest of their behavior, the sound of their voice is realistic. And this is very special and really fun. So for us, it's also, I think, important to talk about sustainability. The device is quite cheap. It's 400 euros. It's like a middle-class mobile phone. So even if you use it once at an event, it pays off. And we now have the first results. We have a very long customer retention time. People love to stay in it, especially users from the App Store stay up to 30 minutes. There's no other channel we use who reaches such a long focus on our Germany content. In this 30 minutes, they only focus on Germany. And on events, it's between 5 and 15 minutes in average of 100% focus on our Germany content. That's really amazing. We get very good feedback from guests from the events, even here. And I hope from you again, as well, if you come later to our stand number 10. And the marks in the App Store, where you don't have any influence, are very, very good. And well, much talking. I would like to show a short film to close now, so you get an experience. Now you go through the door and you are in the middle of the heritage site. So again, the invitation to come to our booth, and I don't want to miss to invite you to ITB next year. We organize the Accessible Tourism Day at ITB every year. It's now the 15th Accessible Tourism Day. That means a whole Congress day only focusing on accessible tourism. It's at the Wednesday, 4th of March in Berlin. So if you like, you can come to Berlin or you can take part online. We had 650 participants this year, so it's quite successful. Come and join us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Olaf. Thank you. Fantastic. I'll be in Berlin, so we need to talk. And also, there's a great opportunity to actually write about these things to the academic community. Just a little bit of an announcement. Our review will do a special issue on accessible tourism. It will be a virtual special issue, and would like to see innovations like that are coming from industry to be featured in these things. Have we got questions from the audience? I'd like to take 2 questions. Okay, let me do my exercise for the day. So in the meanwhile, a lot of the things are emerging on metaverse. And I think where we're going to be able to live a digital life as well, simultaneously with the analog life. Please say who you are and the question. So.
Hi, I'm a volunteer for CPD organization, and I'm very curious as to what you're planning to do in case of improper use of this technology, because I know of a social experiment happened like 2015, early 2010s. Between Dublin and New York, there was you can call it a screen with a webcam, and humans being humans, they started doing obscene things on camera between the communications, and so they shut it down. And because this is a connective technology, I was curious about it.
Well, I don't see any danger for this specific app because it has been developed by us with our software. Nobody else will have access. Maybe there are some professional hackers around, but until now, I've seen in this case no risk. I know what you're talking about. I even experienced it myself, that by using metaverse or whatever, some people show up and do silly things. That's a real risk. And youth protection is a hot topic in that field, yeah.
It reminds me of Zoom in the beginning during COVID. Do you remember what was happening on every Zoom? Everybody was happening. And then we start locking things. And in my university, in Bournemouth University, you need to be authorized to go in. Still, there are some ways that we're going around it. But this proprietary system, so they're controlling what they show. I think there are a lot of experience coming from gaming, because all the gaming experience where it's participatory and stuff, and a lot of people have been addressing, but that's a very valid point. You have a question.
Thank you very much. I'm Joan Durand. I work for the Foundation for Environmental Education Blue Flag Program. So it's really encouraging to see public authorities looking into innovation. So that's great. It's very encouraging to see it's inexpensive in terms of outputs and great outcomes. What's the average expense investment for content creation for one site? So before providing this publicly, what's the cost?
There is never a clear answer on cost. It really depends on the demand of content, how many sites you have. Do they already have 360 panoramic pictures, or do we have to buy them or to shoot? We had all three cases, you know, so it's very, very different. If you buy such a panoramic picture, we may pay between 300 euros and 1,000 euros in average. So if you sum up 55 heritage sites, and for each site, we allowed 5 panoramic pictures, huge content. But you can control your costs.
This is an interesting one, and I think Selvakumar is going to be talking about that later on. But what is really interesting, especially with the accessibility community in mind, is whether we can crowdsource content, and particularly people who are traveling on wheelchairs, people who are going around in different types of disability. They're quite keen to share their experience. So if you get this content to the degree that's reliable, and you can upload on the platforms, on National Tourism Organization or regional or whatever, that will be a fantastic way to actually reduce cost and improve the community. And I had this conversation already with Selvakumar before, and I think we'll have this conversation. Olaf, thank you so much. Our next speaker is Roberto Scano, who I do not know. I've just met recently, and this is what Ivor is calling a risk. So Ivor said, I don't know Mirko. I said, I know Mirko, but I don't know Roberto. So we are 1-1. Roberto.
Thank you very much. I'm Roberto Scano. I'm an Italian 50-year guy, and I work in the accessibility field since 2002. I'm directly involved in the standardization bodies. I write standard. My job is not very good because I hear my friend Mirko that develop products, other people that develop products. I define the rules that need to be respected for guarantee accessibility. So I know that I have 1 hour of speech about standard. It's distracted, so you don't understand that I'm joking. So I have an hour for talk about standard. Okay, I will be alone. Okay, so I want only to give some information about the importance of standard, that every one of you can participate to develop standards. This is the most important thing. So what is a standard? Standards born as voluntary. Nobody required to you to follow standard. If there are no laws that require to follow a specific standard, but we talk later. It's voluntary. It's done by consensus of the relevant stakeholders. When we develop standards, we say that a standard don't contain a things that I like or a thing that Mirko like, but something that is good for both. Is collaboration. It's a clear and transparent process. When we define standard, all the process is available. There are different parts in the development of the standard where also people that are not directly involved can participate in public consultation. So everyone can read the final version of the standard, because one of the problem of the standard is that a lot of standard you need to pay for read the standard. We that develop standard, we aren't pay. So there is the association that take the money. We don't take money for develop standards. And are publicly available. Some standards are for free, some standards you need to pay, as you say. It's a common language for measure and evaluate the performance of product and service. Guarantee interoperability of component service and provide the different companies possible. The most important thing is that when a legislation require to define some topics about in accessibility field in ICT, for example, or other field of accessibility, the standard becomes harmonized standard. Harmonized standard means that allow a regulation, an European regulation, for example, consider the standard as a possibility to be conformed to a directive. And we have a recent example, the European Accessibility Act. How many of you know about European Accessibility Act? Okay. Did you know that one of the topics is also traveling, mobility? So this is the most interesting for the tourism sector. But not only, there is the e-commerce. When I book an hotel, when I book a restaurant, it's e-commerce. So I don't want to say a lot about standard. The steps are long. For make a standard, we need about 1 year, but usually it's more than 1 year. This is the wannabe. The wannabe is 1 year, but it's very, very long because we need to involve also national representative. Depends also by the standardization body, because, for example, there are organizations in Europe like ETSI that consent also the participation directly by company. So we have company like LG, Amazon, and other company that work directly for develop the standards. So we have general standard for accessibility. I think one of the most important standard is the EN 17161. This is the design for all approach, managing accessibility of product and service. We need to create product and service with accessibility in mind. We don't must do the error that we do in the physical accessibility, that we create something and then we need to destroy and recreate for make accessible. We need to develop directly accessible from the first step. Then we have also topics that are directly connected to the European Accessibility Act that can also be interesting for the tourism sector. There are two working projects. One is accessibility of non-digital information related to products and service. Guideline, when I buy a service, I need to know before buy if guarantee to me accessible service. Another important thing is accessibility of support service for products and service. If I need to interact with a museum, for example, with an hotel, people that are involved in the customer service need to talk, need to understand the accessibility needs, and need to support the people with disability. Then we have specific related standard. I work directly, I'm directly involved in the EN 301549. That is the accessibility requirement for ICT products and service. In this standard, we set everything about ICT, hardware, software, digital documents, websites, mobile apps. So this is, I think, the most important topic that can be interesting also for company that work with AI, because I do some spoiler of the last slide. I think that we don't need specific new standard for AI in accessibility, because the most important thing is that the interface must to be accessible. We have the standard. The big topic is that we need to have data quality. Information about accessibility of an hotel, of a restaurant, should not be self-assessed by the owner. So we need a third-party association of people that guarantee test for accessibility and guarantee that the products and services are accessible. Then there are other standards about ICT that are not directly interesting, but for example, the second one is a technical report 101551 that is related to the public procurement and talk about the accessibility hour criteria. This could be also interesting for big companies. A big company that need to buy products and service can use this technical report for evaluate better the accessibility of product and service that they buy for the company. And then there is a big work that we are doing, the EN 303919, that is about the single European emergency number, 112. Because a lot of people don't understand that when there is an emergency, there are different needs for different people with different disabilities. There are people that cannot hear the sound of the alarm, they cannot read, they cannot exit from a room that is not fully accessible. I thank the organizer that at the start of the meeting speaks about this kind of information, because it's very, very important. Because we have only one occasion that can happen something. If we haven't any information how to escape, we are die. Another more important standard is not directly in ICT, but is connected, because it's about the accessibility and usability of the built environment. This standard is under development, is the EN 17210. This is related to European Accessibility Act. There is a specific annex that talk about, for example, use of related outdoor areas as facilities, use of entrancy, use of paths in horizontal circulation or vertical circulation, use of room by the public, use of the toilets and sanitary facilities. There is a standard that develop how to guarantee accessibility also in this field. And this is related also to the ICT, because, for example, if I develop an ITM machine, I can follow the ICT rules for accessibility, but if I put it too high from the floor, I make it not more accessible for wheelchair user. And what about tourism? In Italy, we have a good practice for this. UNI is the national standardization body in Italy, created the document that is called PDR, Prassi di Riferimento, Reference Practice. The reference practice 131 of 2023 is free available. You can free download. You need only to register your email. You can download for free. Then you can put in chat GPT and translate in English, Spanish, French, as you want. This is accessibility of service offered by accommodation facilities, spas, beach resorts, and sports facilities, requirement and checklist. This is a real checklist for all this kind of tourism service for check about their accessibility. This is an important topic, Mirko, could be also interesting for the data management, because if we have checklist, we can organize, we can retrieve data and guarantee more accessibility about this. But I'm closing, so we have more time. I don't discuss with Mirko when he do the slide, but the last slide is similar to, to yours. How AI-powered accessibility can be involved in tourism. We have seen also with the German colleague, the virtual assistant, the chatbots, the virtual reality, augmented reality. Their topics are all now managed by standards. Every actual ICT standard can support development of AI chatbots and virtual assistant, natural language processing, translating different language. Also the type of language. I cannot say to a blind user, okay, in your top left, you can see these topics, because it can't see in the top left. I need to use a different language. I need to organize the text generation based also by the accessibility needs of the person. I very like the presentation of Mirko about how a tool can extract information for an accessible travel route for wheelchair people. But as I said before, we need to check the quality of the data, because if I organize and I arrive in a place and I cannot move, I cannot go back, I'm trapped by AI error. But AI error is not a software error, it's a data error in this case. So we can have the AI personalized experience. Another important thing is the Internet of Things and the wearable object. Mirko said before about one of the examples, because there are a lot of companies that are developing now the AI-powered glasses, the Meta Ray-Ban, for example, and are very useful. Also for people with disability. But talking with people of Ray-Ban, the main business wasn't the disability field. They sell them for the young people that take video and put on Instagram. They don't understand that, for example, now I have a lot of friends of mine that are blind that wear this kind of glass that actually are not real intelligent. They need to fix to generate a better mobile app, because I think you haven't nothing inside the glasses. You need to connect via Bluetooth with your phone with an app. So everything is inside your phone. The most important thing is that some service that help a blind user to move around the city are being implemented. I got a friend of mine that I phoned him for ask information about if he needs something for the dinner, because and he said to me, let me check the fridge. He opened the fridge and say, hey Meta, tell me what there is inside the fridge. So you think that something that was born for do Instagram can be managed for accessibility. It's like other intelligent assistant, like Alexa. We use Alexa for jokes, for music, etc. There are people with disabilities that use this kind of tool for open the door, turn off the light, turn on the light. I will never think that if you go to visit your friend that is blind, you go back home, you don't know if you turn off the light. But with the app, you can interact. The same thing can be done also in tourism. If I go inside a room in hotel, if I got some of these intelligent objects, I can interact with them. I can have service, information. I can have more accessibility than the normal use of the room. So we need more standard. It might be necessary, but the current one already meets most of the needs. Applying accessibility principle who of you work in digital sector know that the main reference of all the ICT standards are based to the Web Content Accessibility Guideline, WCAG, that is a standard for the web. The first version was done the 5th of May, 1999, the last millennium. Okay, so I have only 2 minutes of time, so I close here. So you must to implement using the principle that are perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. If you apply these 4 principles, when you develop everything in digital sector, you can guarantee more accessibility. Thank you.
Grazie mille. In fact, you returned me back to many, many years back, about 25 years ago. We were doing the Harmonized project with CNR and looking about standards for tourism in general. I don't know if anybody in the audience was with us on IFIT, and we're just remembering that, which is very, very interesting. Actually, standards is one of the most difficult, most technical things. And there are 2 approaches to that. One is the standard, and the other is the interoperability between the different systems. But unless you've got that, you don't have smart tours, smart cities, because the systems cannot actually communicate.
Absolutely.
So let me see if I've got questions from the audience. Any questions? I know it's quite technical, and it's really about technology.
Thank you. I really enjoyed that. My name is Ryan from Australia, the Access Agency. There was a viral video on social media last year of a gentleman who was blind using a lift, relatively new lift, in a hotel, and he was stuck in the lift for about 5 to 10 minutes because the new panels are flat, no tactile elements. So we're introducing this technology, which is really beneficial to some people, and removing the braille and the buttons and the tactile elements from others. How do we ensure that doesn't happen? Because that's a new innovation, and it happens in mapping, happens in ordering those panels.
Okay, thank you. Innovation don't means downgrade in accessibility, because otherwise it's not innovation. In the standard, for example, for the elevators, we need to guarantee that if you use the touch screen, you need to have different mode to interact. For example, I can speak, take me to the first floor, but I can show you other example. If you come from Australia, so you go around to the airport. There are some airports. I think I see also in Sydney one. There are the coffee machine that are optimized for the web-shy people. So you have a display, a touch display. You have an icon that you click, and the display move the icon lower, so wheelchair people can use. In USA, if you go to inside McDonald's, a blind user can put inside the jack of the earcuts, and the machine talk like the smartphone. They can touch the screen, not touch directly the product, but they move like they use in their mobile phone, and the voice say, you are choosing this kind of product, you tap 2 times and you add to the bag. So you can do it. Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Is data warehouse still going in Australia? Because in Australia, you've got the best data in the world with the data warehouse and all the rest of it. Yeah, and it's really about how do you enhance the data with that?
Yeah, since he was talking about standards, I'd like to know if these standards have been integrated into any software that is like a detection system used by access auditing.
Should be. Think that.
Do we have one?
Sorry?
Do we have one system that has a detection system that do an access audit, automated access audit that generates reports and all that? So basically, we're talking about standards, correct?
Okay, we got the point. And you said should be, therefore there isn't one.
Okay.
There isn't one. That's a polite way of saying that we have got to do it, but that's important.
Okay.
Okay.
Only by one thing, the European standard that I described before for the ICT is also used in Australia. Australia copy the standard, like the Canada, copy this standard, and publish directly. So we are creating a real international standard also for ICT.
Grazie, Roberto. Last but not least, Selvakumar is going to explain a lot of the new technologies that they're developing with his company. And actually, what we concluded yesterday is nothing for us without us. And actually, Selvakumar is the epitome of that, how they're developing solutions for people who are living the accessibility challenge and all the opportunities that this is coming.
Good morning, all. Buongiorno. This is my first time to Reno, but I'm not a stranger to Italy. I earned my PhD from University of Roma. So I'm Dr. Selvakumar Ramachandran. I'm the founding director of Kerckhoffs Limited. We are based in northeast of England, to be precise, Sunderland. And I just want to talk a bit more about me, because all my credentials, all my lived experience led to the initiative that I have been taking with respect to emerging technologies in accessible tourism. I never walked in my life, born and brought up in India. I did my studies in Sweden and in Italy. I'm an academic at University of Oxford. I got a company in the US as well. I'm one of the senior researchers for a few projects of ENOT, European Network for Accessible Tourism, who is one of the organizers of this conference. And I'm a fellow at British Computer Society, and I have an autistic son. So if you look at the history, travel and technologies have brought people closer together, and it led to inventions, innovation, civilization, but pinnacly empowerment. So I'm a technologist. I love to travel, but not many people have the privilege of traveling due to disability, financial reasons, fear of flying, and resistance to travel and travel restrictions. And I thought just before the COVID, why don't we create a tool, a virtual reality-based tool, leveraging on 360-degree videos, and make it as a platform economy where one end users create the content, make it available for the user who want to have alternative tourism, parallel tourism, or preparatory tool for their visit. So as much as the troubles in planning for people with disability to travel across the globe, there is different challenges for neurodivergent children. So how do we make use of 360-degree videos to make it as a platform economy, to make it available for enhancing accessible tourism? And why did we choose VR 360 degrees instead of creating blended 3D environment? It is platform compatible. You can, if you don't want to watch it on VR headset, you can watch it on a phone, desktop, and it provides the real information. And so once I got this idea of creating a platform economy for accessible tourism, leveraging on VR 360-degree videos, I approached European Network for Accessible Tourism. We ran a survey between 2022 to 2023, and we have came to know that there are more than 50% of the people, travelers with disabilities, they are willing to buy, subscribe, license to 360-degree videos that can provide a parallel tourism platform or a preparatory tool. So this is what we have come up with. So at the one end, wheelchair users or families with neurodivergent children, they can create 360-degree videos, make it available on the platform. On the other side, same like any platform economy applications, people can access videos for free. Then if they want to have want to have videos with more information, they can pay a little money. So imagine someone like me living in India wants to visit Switzerland. He may not have financial means to travel to Switzerland, or he wants to experience so that he can make an informed decision. So you can access our immersive videos created by wheelchair users, parents, and siblings of neurodivergent children, or tourist guides. Tourist guides creating videos with the information of accessibility. So K can make an informed decision. So in the last 3-4 years, with the support of European Network for Accessible Tourism, ENAT, and our own funding, we have created more than 500 hours of videos across the globe in United Kingdom, in Greece, in Bulgaria, Ireland, Pakistan, India, and in the US. So we take all these videos to schools across northeast of England and show it to children with special educational needs and people with disabilities. They thoroughly enjoyed, not only for having a tourism experience, virtual tourism experience, it catalyzes them, it motivates them to plan for real. So VR-based tourism can never replace the real tourism, but it can be a great catalyzer for accessible tourism. And as much as it enables inclusive tourism, it can it can enhance inclusion at the destination. For example, if you ever been to Northeast, Beamish Museum is so huge, it cannot be covered in a single day. So you can have partly covered in person, partly can be experienced through VR. And the most important point is it can create a parallel revenue stream or additional revenue stream for tourist guides and wheelchair users, and whoever travels, we can monetize with the social cost. And if you look at, if you capture this QR code, you can watch 40 minutes of VR 360 wheelchair perspective, VR 360-degree video in the Oxford City Centre. And as much as it supports accessible tourism, when we capture these VR 360-degree videos from wheelchair user perspective or essential child perspective, it can help the government to make policy decisions as well. So recently, as much as we do with VR for accessible tourism, recently with the support of ENAD, we have started how we can implement or how we can enable artificial intelligence into accessible travel planning. So Mirko had spoken a lot about it, and one of the audience had asked the question, how do we reduce bias? How do we provide the right information? So what we are proposing is, we are not using any of the proprietary or American chat models, not Google or not ChatGPT. We are getting inspiring from one foundational open source models, and we are training it with our own data. This is where we have initiated our foundation conversation with ENAT. We can get data, accessible tourism providers data, along with Google Maps data. We can create a simple interactive travel planning tool for disabled visitors. And thanks to my presence in the Oxford and my connections with ENAT and all, recently I have started, how can we help visually impaired visitors? So we can take advantage of the state-of-the-art XR glasses, get the live video, live feed, and create a narration out of that live feed. And with leveraging on map data, we can provide the real-time audio narration for visually impaired visitors. Thank you so much for your attention. And I'm everywhere on social media. You can contact me, or you can contact ENAT for next level of collaboration. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Selvakumar. There's a huge range of innovation that Selvakumar and his collaborators are developing. And I think it's a huge opportunity to actually engage with the ecosystem and develop some of these things. With the national tourism organizations, obviously from Germany, I know Ross, Marina here from England, from Scotland, and from other places. Let me come down and find out if there are questions for Selvakumar. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 10 minutes from your coffee break to have an open question to everybody. Questions? Any questions, any issues, any discussion? Okay, in which case I'm opening up to questions to anybody for the whole session. Keep it brief, please, and we're going to be to the point. Any questions? People want coffee. That's fine. And I've got a flight to catch, so that's fine. I think you had the opportunity to raise your questions. A couple of things for me before we disappear. One is that we will do a virtual special issue on tourism review about accessible tourism. Ivo is going to distribute the information to all of you, and he'll help me with editing this. And it'll be a great opportunity to come along and develop this. This area needs a lot of more research. This area needs a much more involvement and needs collaboration with all the stakeholders. And I think that's a great opportunity. Grazie mille per tutti. See you soon. Take care. Thank you. And we finish on time. Huh? How good is that?